Hello, Camille in my gut house again. So today's midday update, we actually only started about an hour ago, but my dad and we found which breaker was for these bedrooms, and we got that one removed since that didn't look good. That breaker is actually both of these bedrooms and the bathroom, except for one outlet right there and one outlet right there. So that's weird. But if you heard me mention in a different video that these outlets on this wall here make me nervous because the basement was flooded because they had a pipe burst. And so all of these were through the flood, but yet they're still connected until now. So we found that those were going, it was plugged into an outlet right there on this side of the wall, and the water did not get this high. So this guy should be good. So we just had to, my dad went into this outlet after we turned the breaker off, of course, and so he just unplugged that wire from those, so all of those are good now. But there was one more outlet over here, right here, that has a newer wire going to the breaker box, and that's the only thing on that breaker. So that guy also makes me nervous, even though it's newer wiring, just because he was in the flood. So because he's on his own breaker, I just turned him off for now, and he's good. So that's my midday update. Hello, Camille here in my gut house. Last update of today, Sunday, November 2nd. So here in the bathroom, we did not end up taking the tub out. We scraped the 2 layers of old vinyl flooring that were on the floor. It might need to be patched here a little bit around the toilet. Well, I mean, that'll be easy enough since the toilet won't be there anymore anyways. And it's a little bit deteriorated around the front of the tub, which would be expected, especially from the water damage. We decided not to remove the tub because we weren't comfortable with smashing it, because we didn't want to put any more vibration on those studs that are already not in very good condition. So that's one thing we did. I finished removing the trim from this room and the closet and this room. As I had said originally, we thought that the carpet in here and there was glued down, but it didn't end up being that way. It was just laid on top of it. And then it only got stuck to the flooring because of moisture and, weight over time. But this room had quarter round in front of the trim holding down the edges of the carpet. And so since my dad didn't remove that before he started pulling the carpet, there was still a little bit of the padding and stuff stuck under there. So I got that off just now as well and swept. I swept one more time in there. And also down here in the basement, since my dad got the wire that feeds them removed from that outlet over there, my dad got all of these removed, all of the outlets, and removed the 2x4s and the bottom 2x4 that were still hanging out there. I guess all of these have some weird back plate that's like pinned into the wall somehow. I can't remember what my dad exactly called that, but a bunch of those are still hanging out on the wall, which we can remove them at a later date if they're in the way, but they're fine for now. And then, as I said, that outlet is off. My dad suggested we could just cut the wire above where the water level was and then put an outlet a little bit higher up or something, but I'm not worried about that right now. I have 3 working outlets in the basement in that corner at the moment. I'll just run extension cords if I need to do anything down here. And my dad was, he kept on mentioning a few times that we had been told that the water, at one time we were told that the water was 1 foot high, another time it was 6 feet high, and I pointed these steps out to my dad. I'm like, well, you can take a look at these steps and kind of figure out how high the water level is, because obviously they would have pulled the bad carpet off of the bottom steps, that it probably would have, I don't know how long the basement would have been flooded, but it probably wouldn't take long to shred that carpet and make it nasty. So, and yeah, to match up with that, there is a line here It's not in very many spots, but there was a couple of spots like there, and there's one over there behind the water heater that we think that matches up with that. May have been where the water level is. We're pretty sure that the bathroom and this room had paneling on it, so that makes sense why we don't see anything there. But I think that is all I have for today. I am taking an early night. I am going to go home and rest a little bit. This is exhausting work, even though, again, we didn't get very much done today. But have a nice night.